Hello everybody, welcome to the Red Devil Experience. How you doing? My name is Eric. Manchester United win 1-2 versus Manchester City at the Empty Had Empty Had. All I know is how to call it the Empty Had. But yes, Manchester United get the all-important Derby Day win in late fashion, in what we would say traditional Manchester United fashion. Late minute winner from Amad Diallo, world-class goal from Amad Diallo. We're gonna go over the whole match. We're gonna break it down. We're gonna, get into some statistics. We're gonna do live player ratings as well. So get involved in the chat. Get involved in the comments after, if you're watching after the live stream. And please make sure you smash the like button because it helps us out. It grows the channel. It gets us seen more. So if you want to help us out, we greatly appreciate it. Just click the like button. And if you enjoyed the content, make sure you subscribe and hit the little notification bell so you know when we go live. We go live on a weekly basis. So that's all well and good. But I mean, it really looked like we were going to lose this game to a corner. I was thinking of that I was going to come on the show, and again I would have to say that we are losing matches because of corners, and the talk today is going to be very, very different because we ended up winning. We got a penalty, and Bruno Fernandes converted it after missing a chance that he obviously should have scored, and it was disappointing that it wasn't even on target, and he shot it wide. Bruno definitely should have scored that goal, and that moment happened, and I really felt like this sums up our day today. I mean, I think we played pretty decently well. It wasn't the most, exciting and ecstatic and high energy level, but I think you can see the system that Amorim is trying to implement. You can see that we kind of played a little bit more better football, like a toe-to-toe kind of football with Manchester City. So, Benes Manic is in here saying Amad is world class. I mean, that goal that he scored right at the end was just absolutely world class. The touch with the toe to take it up and over Ederson just to get something on it and then bring it down, not even look at the goal, and to just put the ball in in the net, and it went perfectly in between whoever the defender was for City's legs. I mean, it was just absolutely world class. That was the whole sequence of events was world class. And even for him to get the penalty, I mean, he got the penalty. He literally won us the match. He was smart enough not to shoot it. The touch that he took it wide touch. In my opinion, he should have went the other way, but he went the way he did. And he didn't force it. He stayed calm. He stayed collected. He tried to make something happen out of it. And, he did a brilliant move, and he got fouled, and he got the penalty. And if it wasn't for those two actions by Amad, we don't score those two goals, and we don't win the match. So, Amad, absolutely brilliant. And, just speaking on Amad, because there was a lot of controversy today before the match, right? Obviously, Rashford and Alejandro Garnacho being dropped out of the squad completely, not even being on the bench, which caused a lot of controversy. A lot of people were questioning Ruben Amorim's decision on that to not even put them on the bench. It's one thing to drop them out of the starting 11, but to drop them out of the playing squad completely in a derby away from home against Manchester City is a big, big call. And he can walk away today and, take all the credit and say my decision was absolutely right, because he's won the match. He's won the match, so he's been validated in that today. The talk would have probably been a little bit different if we didn't win. A lot of people would have argued we could have used the Rashford or Garnacho coming off the bench, especially when we looked like we needed a little something in the game. He made substitutions sort of late today, but I think it was the right move because we weren't down, that badly. They scored from a corner kick. They had some chances from open play, but they didn't really look like, they didn't do much more than we did. They had maybe 2 or 3 more shots on target than us. But it was really sort of an even type of game. And, I think you can see what Amorim is trying to get the team to do. And it's going to take a little bit more time. It's going to take a little bit more time. It needs to take time because these things are... The players have to learn the positioning It has to be instinctive. It has to become instinctive, and to become instinctive, it can only happen with time. You have to drill it into their head, and you have to do this on a daily basis, on a constant basis, and then over time it will become instinctive. But you can see what he's trying to do. I think we played some decent football at times. There was, I was almost to the surprisement of me that we actually had as much possession as we had in periods of the game, where Manchester City were literally seceding the possession to us. But we were doing good in the possession. There are things that we need to improve, like the movement of the ball. Some of the decision making, and then really pushing a little bit more forward when we have the ball, and really making something out of that possession. But I think that will come with the time when they learn the positioning, they learn the better decision making and stuff like that. For sure, because it just was really, really good. It was really good from the team. They stayed in it. And I think this is something that we're seeing, coming from Ruben Amorim, is that it feels like certainly that the tide is in the mentality is turning a little bit. Last match on Thursday, we went down 1-0. We stayed in the game. We played our game. We came. We won. We won 2-1. And we scored, another late goal in that game. And the same thing happened today. And this is a much bigger game against a much bigger opponent. And yet again, we went down 1-0 from a corner kick that, we need to figure out how to stop this from happening, because I think even against Arsenal, we lost the match because we couldn't stop corners. I think in the grand scheme of the play, we did all right. In terms of not letting them really score an open play goal. Today we did the same thing. We conceded a set piece. We didn't concede from an open play goal. So I think we did good in that aspect. Was it the prettiest? Was it the most exciting? No, it was kind of pretty boring up until the end, up until Amad Diallo, and pretty much the last 5-10 minutes of the match. When it really came to life. And in classic Sir Alex Ferguson and Manchester United time, we went and we grabbed the winner and we stole it from City. One win in 11 for Pep Guardiola. They're clearly in a crisis. This is the end of the era maybe for them. But we are building. We are building here. We're building. And we need to improve. But this was a huge we for us, and a huge win for Ruben Amorim. I mean, that's a big 3 points away from home. It's 3 points that we actually desperately needed, because obviously we want to go higher up in the table. But I want whoever's watching, get involved, get in the live comments. Let me know what you're feeling. Let me know what you're thinking, because it's not the show's not about me and what I think. I want to hear from the fans. I want to hear from the fan base. So how do you feel after today's win? What do you feel about some of the players? What do you feel about the decision that he left out Garnacho and Rashford out of the entire matchday squad, and he's won the match. Just to bring in a couple Ruben Amorim quotes. Ruben Amorim on the XI leaking, which we all know is a problem. There's been leaks coming from what is supposedly a certain player, or a player and some other people inside of the club. So Amorim was actually asked about the starting 11 leaks, and he said that, I think it's impossible to fix that these days. It's hard to know. It's not a good thing, but let's move on and see if they find the next XI. So it's kind of an interesting quote from Ruben Amorim there. I think it is a bit hard to stop. I think you can attempt to try and stop it. Will you actually stop it completely? It's hard in today's time. But he lets you off with a little bit of a cliffhanger there, saying, let's see if they figure out the next XI. So I don't know if they got something up their sleeve. But he continued on with that quote, saying that, I know the story. I don't know. Oh, that it's the same quote. It was just that part was left out. Amorim said maybe our conversation would have been different without the goals, but the performance would have been the same if they were in the game for 90 minutes. I have to agree with Ruben Amorim there, and I said it in the beginning of the show. I said, I was getting ready to come on here and say, we were in and around the game. It wasn't the most exciting game. It wasn't the most dynamic football from both teams, I would say. The game was pretty static, and Manchester City were defending heavily when we were on the ball. They were defending with 2 blocks of 4, and they were defending sort of deep. They were doing sort of this half hybrid press, and it was making it difficult for us because we're still trying to find our feet. It was making it difficult for us to try and create chances, and we only had 1 shot on target in I think in the 60th minute of the game. So that's still a problem for us. That's something that Ruben Amorim has to unlock. But judging from his team that he built at Sporting, I have confidence that he will figure that aspect out. But that's going to come with time. You know, but I do agree that the conversation would have been a little bit different. But in the overall, we were in the game for 90 minutes. We were only down a goal. We were doing well in possession. We were doing well against Manchester City. And holding out on defense and making sure to stop them from getting as good as a chance as they possibly could. So, I do agree with that. And Amorim also said you could feel that we were close to scoring. We gained speed in our runs, and we had chances. We controlled City's attack, and we believed in it at the end. We want even more after the equalizer. Congratulations to the players. So, yeah, I mean, absolutely. He also said it's really important, but when these games finished, I remember 1 week ago in the storm, the famous storm that he's talked about, we were 3-1 down at home to Nottingham, and I keep that feeling for these days, not to get carried away. We needed a lot, the 3 points. Ray's in here saying good win at last. Well, yeah, I mean, listen, we have to just accept that this is gonna take time. He's in a difficult position. He's come in the middle of the season. The season didn't start well. He doesn't have time that a new manager would get to really prepare and do the basics with a squad that you take over. And he's been having to do it, with minimal training. And basically, he's using the matches as a form of practice as well. So it's a little bit of a mess. He's had to navigate through it. It's a little bit of a struggle. And so I do understand that, if people are a little bit frustrated with how, it started with him so far, but obviously they're not blaming him, but this is going to take some time. And it's clear and evident. We've kind of skipped over the bounce a little bit, or the bounce has been a little bit bumpy, right? But I think today it's a good win. It's a strong win. It's a strong statement. Because again, I think if the team from the past, they would have held their heads down after they conceded that goal off of the corner, right? We've seen these group of players. We've seen this club, this team. When bad things happen in the match, their heads go down, and that's it. It's over. I typically feel like, we concede that corner, and the team of the past, not under Ruben Amorim, would have conceded a second and probably a third, and maybe we would have got one back, or maybe not. But they conceded that corner. They were upset about the corner, but you could tell that there's a little bit more of a cohesion between the players. There's a little bit more caring. It's a little bit more important to them. And they're all fighting a little bit more, and they're all hanging in there, and they're all kind of playing as a unit together. So I think you can see the work that Amorim is trying to instill in these players. Again, we have to be patient. We know, like, I understand, the season is struggling a little bit, right? Because we're in the midst of a season and we want to do it as good as possible, but it's a difficult spot to be in. And we're just gonna have to take this season as it goes. But I think you can see the work that he's doing. It is paying off slowly. And there's more work to be done. and there's going to be more bumps in the road. But I think already you can kind of see what he wants this team to do. And then right now he's doing the basics with it. Once they get the basics down, then he could start being a little bit more advanced. And when he can start being more advanced with the players, I think that's when you're really going to see the big improvements and the big changes. Ray saying he wasn't happy the way we was playing, not enough attacking play, but we did it in the last minutes. Well, yeah, and I think that's part of the thing, that it has to come with time, because right now he's just teaching them the basics, and they need to get a handle of the basics, and he's on limited time with them anyway. He can't have the proper training that he wants to do to have an advanced training session with them. So there are improvements that need to be made. His team at Sporting were very good at attacking. They were the highest scoring team in all of Europe right before he left. His emphasis is on scoring goals. It's not about really kind of the way we played, where, you know, there was a lack of opportunities, a lack of chances. We struggled. That should be fixed at some point. That should improve at some point. But we need to be patient as the process goes, because right now he's just getting the very basics: positioning, kind of decision making, where you should be on the pitch, where, you know, depending on where the ball is, what do you do off of the ball. These are basic things. The more advanced things will come, but you have to do one step at a time. You need to improve the basics. They need to get that down. They need to understand that, you know, like they understand brushing their teeth in the morning, or eating breakfast or something like that. You know, it's just a thing that you do. You don't think about it. You don't have to question, you know, what you really, you know, what you're doing. And that's sort of what I see with the players. Like when Ray says, you know, we wasn't playing enough attacking, it's because the players still haven't learned that instinctive process yet. It's not part of them yet. They are in the process of learning it, but that's going to take time, because you really have to do something on a consistent basis, often for a good period of time, before it comes, you know, really naturally to you, when it's not naturally to you. RSV is saying big up. First half was pretty rubbish. Team looked a lot better second half, apart from the attacking play. Bruno and Højlund both messed up a lot. Otherwise, it would have been at least 3 or 4-1 Man United. Well, we had definitely some chances. Bruno definitely messed up that one chance. For sure. Interestingly enough, RSV, it's funny that you view it, you know, the way that you view it, because I actually think that in the first half, we played a little bit better than the second half. I think the second half, we were struggling a little bit more. We were playing a little bit slower. Now, maybe that's because we were down 1-0. And it changed my perspective, because when we go down, I get very antsy. I get very anxious. And I want to see the team play with a little bit more drive, a little bit more intent. And I want to see more threatening chances created. So maybe that's just a personal thing, from my perspective. Because I think in the first half, we did have some opportunity. We had some opportunities that we didn't put them on target. We should have put them on target. There was a couple, 2 or 3 good chances. And I think we were doing very well in possession. Højlund's first touch and his ball control was atrocious again. Bruno almost also missed a sitter and had a couple of misplaced passes. Yeah, those things are always going to be there. I try not to like overanalyze these things when they're happening in the match, because I understand the fan base. Grace is in here saying Manchester is red with lots of hearts. I love it. And it absolutely is red. Absolutely is red. But I try not to overanalyze these things. I know as fans, like, you know, we're very emotional and we want things to happen. But also I come with this understanding of when I'm watching a match, like I do expect a misplaced kick. I do expect, you know, a chance to get fluffed somewhere. But on the turn side of that, I do expect that when the next one comes around, or the one after that, you got to put it in. As long as you correct that stuff that happens on the pitch by the ball going into the back of the net, I'm okay with it. because again, this is football. This is a game. You can't score every opportunity you can get. You're not going to make every perfect pass. Um, you're going to lose the ball. You're going to make a bad decision. But for me, you just got to do more of the good than the bad. I think today they did more of the good than the bad. And, it was a bad miss from Bruno. I think he played a pretty decently good game, though, in terms of, passing and kind of decision making. He had some stray bad passes and stuff like that as well. So, did you see Rasmus's X post? I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to get on there. I'm Ray said, I am happy with Amad, top player. Hope he keeps his feet to the ground. Well, he seems like the sort of person that will keep his feet to the ground. Him and Kobe Mainu seem like these two kids, young players that just, they keep their head on a level, they keep their head leveled. They seem like very quiet kids. They don't seem, it doesn't really seem to be like this brand sort of marketing thing that you would see sort of that there is around, Rashford and Garnacho. They come on, they do their jobs. They seem very quiet people off of the field. You don't see them too many places. You don't hear anything of them off of the pitch. So I think they will, because I think they have good people around them. Sometimes players have good people around them from the start, which is very good because it's only going to help you. Some people, they don't have very good people around them, or they get the wrong people around them once they start elevating. And then sometimes they have to figure out that these people aren't good for me and they got to change course. And some people, they never figure that out. And it just sort of goes all downhill. But let's go to X, because I don't know where I can find Rasmus's. Did you see Andre Onana's post? Andre Onana he's a joker. He's a joker. Let me see if I could pull this up. I've forgotten how to screenshot. All gone out the window. Oh, I got it. I'm gonna pull it up on the screen. Andre Onana just posted this. Lyle's in here. Lyle, how you guys feeling? Grace, Lyle, RSV, about like the total, the overall match, the win, important. What do you think of? I want to get you guys' thoughts on the fact that Amorim dropped Rashford Garnacho out of the match day squad completely. He's obviously been vindicated because he's won the derby. So nobody can say, for today that it was the wrong decision and why the hell did he do that. I want to know how you guys feel about it. We're going to do live player ratings in a little bit. If you didn't smash the like button, smash the like button for me, please. And thank you, because it helps us immensely. I want to pull up this post that Andre Onana just put up on his social media. And as soon as I find it, I will get it up there. He's a clown, man. He's a clown. Look at this. Let me make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see. Andre Onana just posted this on Twitter. I mean, Grace says she's happy, but we're still in 13th. Yes. But I mean, listen, we're still in 13th, but it's a valuable 3 points gained, right? And let me just have a look at the table so I can make my argument towards Grace. So we're in 13th. We're behind Newcastle by a point. We're behind Tottenham by a point. We're behind Brighton by 2 points. Brighton by 2 points, Fulham by 2 points, Bournemouth by 2 points, Brentford by 2 points, Villa by 3 points. So 3 point difference, which is, a win for us and a loss for them. That would take us up to 6th. Manchester City, we've closed the gap a little bit now and made it back to a 5 point difference, which is, maybe 2 matches in results. I mean, they have 1 win in their last 11. So and Forest is in 28. And everybody's talking about Forest has 28 points, and everybody's talking about Forest is doing a really good job and they're in the top four. We're only 6 points off Forest. So again, if we can get you know if we could get some sort of stability going forward, and we could kind of fix the corner scenario, um, we could realistically kind of put ourselves into at least the top four talk at least. Because we're not far off of it. So this was a really big win. It was very important, and it's done a lot to the table. And the top four race is very, very tight. It's very, very tight. Between that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 10 teams. And Forest is 2 points off of Arsenal, and Arsenal ain't doing that great either. So, up to the top three, because I think Chelsea's very in form. And I think it's a little bit hard to beat them. Liverpool is very in form as well, and they're obviously at the top of the table. So I don't think those two teams, I think, is very difficult. Arsenal look a little bit off their game as well. They're winning matches by corners. They've tied Everton yesterday. No corner wins for them. So the league is very, it's a very weird league this season, because you got Forest in fourth. The top teams are in and out of the place. It's very, very strange. So Stephanie has joined us as well. Stephanie, big up yourself. How you doing? Lyle saying we were really dull for the most parts, but a win is a win. But a win is a win. That potentially is a momentum shifting win. Well, listen, that's what we hope, right? Maybe this is the kickstart for everything. I believe, maybe some of those players were questioning Amorim today for leaving Rashford and Garnacho out. Maybe a couple of them that are mates with them weren't very happy that he made that decision. But I think the fact that he's won today's match, and having faith in some of those players and trusting those players that he trusted and put on the pitch, and started and substituted, I think it's won him a lot of points with the rest of the squad. Like, I think maybe they might have been bothered by the fact that Rashford and Garnacho weren't in the squad at all. But I think after the match, they're going to be like, nah, I'm buying into this guy. I mean, he's dropped him and we've won the match. And we've won over City away from home as well. I know City isn't in. They're in their worst period probably since Pep has taken over. But still, playing away from home has been a problem for us. And even when we were home, we lost the Forest 3-1, or 3-1 or 3-2, whatever it was. So it's just. It could be the catalyst. Lyle saying 6 points off top four. We just need a good run now. Tough matches on the way, though. Actually, there's no easy game for United. Well, there's no easy game for United. We're coming into a very tough period for ourselves, because we're gonna have to play a lot of high profile matches, right? We are playing Tottenham in a couple days' time versus in the EFL Cup. That's a big match. Then we have to play Bournemouth. We're at home. We got to play Wolves, who are, I mean, in the standings, they are. Where are they in the standings? Well, I mean, they're in the relegation, but they're a team that I don't understand how they're really down there, because every time I see them play, they're always like fighting. So, but then we have to play Newcastle, and we got to play Liverpool, and we got to play Arsenal in the FA Cup again. So we have some tough matches coming up. I think we should definitely have to be beating Bournemouth in the EPL. Wolves, we got to beat them as well. I mean, they're at the bottom of the table. It's away from home, but we got to beat them. Newcastle is going to be the tough match. They're right above us, so we're about there. But I think if we could go on a little bit of a good run. My thing is that I do still expect inconsistencies from this team. I still do expect inconsistent results. So it worries me a little bit, because I don't know if we can actually sustain a good run. And Lyle's right. We do need a good run. We need it. If we get the good run, we can put ourselves there, which is what I'm hoping for. Because if we can get 3 or 4 matches and we get wins out of those 3 or 4 matches, it's going to propel us up. And then we can provide ourselves a little bit of room for an inconsistent or a bad performance. Where we drop points, maybe where we shouldn't, or where we're not expected to. We could give ourselves a little bit of breathing room. But if the inconsistency comes directly after a match like this, then we're doing ourselves a disservice again. So we really need to figure this out. For sure. Grace is saying we are winning the league. We are winning the league. Manchester is red, and we are winning the league. Steph saying, "Don't perform, don't play." Simple. Well, absolutely. It's refreshing from the manager. He's done something that no manager has done in recent times. Eric Ten Hag didn't do it. Eric Ten Hag was actually the one that was the most reluctant to do it out of him, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ralph Rangnick as interim. To drop Marcus Rashford and Alejandro Garnacho completely out of the match day squad is a huge, huge statement. And I was surprised by it. I was shocked. Listen, it's one thing if you drop them out of the starting 11, but to drop them out of the whole squad and not even have them on the bench, I didn't expect that to really come. Now, I wasn't able to catch the game against Victoria. I saw the highlights, but I couldn't watch the match. So I heard Rashford played very, very bad. I heard Garnacho wasn't great either. But I couldn't analyze their performance as a whole. So I'm not 100% sure. You guys can tell me because I know you guys watched it. So you can fill me in on that. I did see the highlights. I saw the Rasmus goal. The winner, which was absolutely beautiful. Great touch, great finish, volley. He struggled today a little bit. I don't think we helped him too much as well. I felt like we could have done more with a little bit of the balls into the box where he was in the position. What I will say though is that what I'm noticing is Rasmus is taking up a much better position inside of the box and as a striker where this wasn't happening under Eric Ten Hag. And I like where Rasmus is positioning himself because that goal that he scored against Victoria, that was a striker's finish. And I think he's playing a little bit more like that. Obviously, he struggled today. He was a little bit off his game, but he's been scoring some more goals, so I think he's going to get there eventually. I think we got a little bit more work to do with him, as well as with the rest of the team. But Steph saying Maguire outstanding today, handled Haaland very, very well. And he was solid there. And it was important because he was providing us that height. He was providing us that aerial, coverage. And that the center back, like I've coined it, the center back, he played very, very well there. And I think he's always played well there when he's played in a back five with England and stuff like that. I think he can excel there. So, very, very good. Maz was good today as well. He stood out to me. Grace saying, can we take a moment to remember Pep? Man, looks like he's going to end it all. I think he feels that way, Grace. I think he feels that way. He certainly, last time, I think it was like 2 or 3 matches ago, he said he said he wanted to hurt himself. Now I think he said that in a half joking manner. I think he felt like, I think he felt that way, but I don't think he actually wanted to do it. If anybody wants to hurt themselves, please call somebody or something. Don't do that. That's a serious issue. But I certainly think he feels that way. I don't think he's ever experienced this in his career as a manager. I don't think he knows how to necessarily handle it right now. And it's very, very tough on him. Wolves looking a new manager. Perhaps Pep is interested. Pep will be managing Man City in National League North next season. Well, hopefully. Hopefully the Premier League doesn't protect them as the apple of their eye, right? Because they've been champions and they have this perception and hopefully the Premier League. I listen. I think the Premier League is going to get them on something. I think if you have what is apparently now 130 charges, um, it's gone up 15 charges apparently. Um, I don't think you walk away from that unscathed. Do you get relegated to Varma National North? Maybe not. Do you lose your trophies that you've won in the past? Maybe not. But there's no way you walk away with it with the slap on the wrist on 130 charges. I think they will be punished in a certain form. For sure. I don't think they walk away from the scot free. And people complaining that it's taking a long time, and I understand that, but people also have to understand, like, listen, when you have a case of 130 charges, you better make sure that every aspect is solid and concrete, because it's a lot of charges to bring into a court and to hit on. So it's gonna take more time than just giving Everton a punishment for one charge, or this club a punishment for one charge. It's one charge. You could do it quickly. But when you have 130 charges, you have to build that case and make sure that it's as solid proof as possible, because the defense is going to try and poke holes all over the place. And what you don't want to do is bring a case as massive as that and have it fall apart within a week. So yeah. For me, it was good to see Garnacho dropped. He has the potential to turn his season around. Rashford is done. Well, that's what I agree with, right? My father said during the match before, it was early in the match, but he said we almost lost Diallo. And he's like, thank God we kept him. And this was like 20 minutes, 30 minutes into the match. And I was like, yeah. And that's because he's a kid and you can turn it around. And you can fight your way back into it. And he didn't have too many opportunities, right? But he stayed there. He kept fighting. He performed how he was supposed to perform. He conducts himself in a way that he's supposed to conduct himself as a Manchester United player and as a professional footballer. And he's made it happen for himself. He's fought his way in, and he keeps impressing. He keeps adding to his game. He keeps influencing matches. So I think for Alejandro Garnacho, there is certainly, him and Rashford was dealt the same hand today. But I think it's two different circumstances. I think Marcus Rashford has had many, many chances. Marcus Rashford is much, much older than Garnacho. And I think Garnacho has an opportunity where he can turn it around. He can fight his way back into the team. He can make himself more influential. He can perform better. He can do all of that because I think, one, he's young, and I think, two, he hasn't gotten as many opportunities when you compare it to Rashford. Rashford has had loads of chances under loads of managers. And I think the chapter is coming to a close for Marcus Rashford. I said this last time, and it just seems like it's gone very sour with him from all aspects, between him and the club, him and the fans. It just doesn't seem good. And there was a report right before the match that came out from Plenty Goals saying that Marcus Rashford will be put up for sale in January and is allowed to leave. So let's see what happens, because that's right around the corner. We have the January transfer window coming. Let's see if that happens. There's been a couple numerous reports saying that Marcus Rashford is up for sale in a way. And they are open to offers. And if anybody wants to make an offer for him in January, they will look at it and they will see if they accept it. So who knows? Who knows? Again, we're under Amorim. He's new to us. Ineos is 1 year in. They're about to mark 1 year in. And let's see what they do. I mean, they fired Dan Ashworth. That was sort of a surprise to us, but who knows? Maybe they do sell Rashford in January. People don't think it's likely. People think it's, sort of rumors, and people will look more to the summer for it to happen, but we don't know. They could very well do it. And if they do it, I think actually, for an Ineos standpoint, I think they would actually win over a lot of fans with that. I think they would get a lot of support and a lot of applause. So yeah, Grace saying Rasmus. Well, yeah, I like Rasmus, so I think he can be. Grace saying, would you keep Maguire one more season? I would if we can get the signings that we need to get. If we need to sell to buy, then I'd have to ultimately sacrifice him and get him out and make a move. But what is his contract situation? Because that will also play a factor. Does he have like 2 years left on his contract? Does he have like a year or something like that? Because then you have to take that into consideration. We can't give him a new contract. So depending on that, if if you can keep him for one more season and then sell him the season after and get money out of it, then I would probably keep him because I think he's been pretty solid. He knows the club. He's been here for a while, and I'm not against keeping him here. And he's happy to play his role. But otherwise, then maybe we have to sell him. Steph is going for dinner, so see you later, Steph. Thank you for stopping by. No, maybe, or absolutely not. But let's do live player ratings real quickie. So player ratings, Andre Onana, I'm gonna give him a 6. He had some good saves. I think his sweeping, not sweeping, but his ball distribution was poor today. He had a lot of misplaced passes. I think sometimes he's not helped when he does those misplaced passes because I think again the players don't help him in their positioning when he receives the ball. So I think it makes his job harder, which leads to errors. But there was some moments where he just had some really bad kicks, which is not really like him, although he does do it every once in a while. But today he had more often than he usually does. He had a couple good saves as well, but otherwise he wasn't too challenged. The goal, not going to blame him for it. That was a defending issue. Who was it? Diallo? Diallo was under it. Rasmus misjudged it, didn't jump for it, thought it was going over. So that was a defender issue. So I'm not really going to blame him for that. So I give him an average performance. Delit, I give him a 7. I think he was pretty solid today. He was very good. And he's been very good. He's been very solid. He had like 1 or 2 hiccups here or there, right? Maguire's contract ends at the end of the season. Well, that's a problem then. Do we have a year to extend it or no? And Lions is here. Lions saying hello. Well, that was interesting. It was. What are you thinking? How you feeling, Lions? Let us know. Tell us. Give us something in the chat. We're just doing the live player ratings right now. So, Harry Maguire, I'm gonna give him a 7 as well. I think both him and Delit were very solid back there. I think they did their jobs. Delit has started or played every game since Amorim has come in. He's been his main man, and rightfully so. I think it was a good buy. He's 24, 25, right? He's got a good 6 years left in his career, at least. And I think is somebody that we can use going forward. I don't know why he gets a lot of criticism. I think most of it's from outside of the United fan base anyway. Option for a further year. All right. Yeah, I'd probably keep him. They might look to extend. They might look to take up the option of a further year and sell him in January. Yeah, it's kind of difficult. I think money wise, you have to sell him because then you lose him for free. So I think the way Ineos are doing things and they're looking at the financials, I think for the business side of football, I think you extend it and you get rid of him in the summer, because you can't just lose him for free. And I don't think they're going to give him a contract extension. And they would probably want to look to add to the rebuild. So Lisandro Martinez, I give him a 7 as well. I think he did all right. He did his job as well. The defense was pretty good. I mean, we didn't concede. We conceded from a corner, but I wouldn't even blame that on our center backs. Because they were marking their man. The people that had their man, it was their fault. So, it had nothing to do with the defense. So, but I think they did pretty good. The game was pretty shitty today. No, yeah, it was. It was boring. it wasn't exciting, and it wasn't dynamic, right? And that comes from both Manchester teams. I think United, obviously, you still see that problem from United, that we struggle a little bit when teams play deeper and they play banks of four, or a bank of five and a bank of four. We struggle to create going forward. We struggle to make things happen. When there is a lack of space there, we struggle. And I will bet on Amorim to unlock that. I will bet on Amorim to fix that. It's going to take time, though, because this was a problem before he came in. This was a problem, 2 to 3 years under Ten Hag. This was a problem before Ten Hag as well. So it's been a problem in Manchester United. I will bet Amorim to get that fixed once the players learn the basics of Amorim's system, and we can start doing more advanced things. Also, the wing backs, we're a little bit more defensive with how we're setting up right now in Amorim's system. The wing backs, he wants wingers. Today he started a right back and a left back, or two right backs. He started two defenders in the wing back position. He wants wingers. When we can transition to having actual wingers playing in the wing back, I think we're going to see more opportunities created. We're going to see a lot more fluidity going forward and stuff like that as well. So we just have to remember that, we're in the early stages right now of this, and we got to see as it builds. But Lion says, I'm thinking I love that Onana picture. Well, he put it up. He's a funny guy. I got to get the Rasmus one that Stephanie said. Lyle said, but the ball spun off Amad and fell perfectly for Guardiola. It caused confusion, so I don't blame them that much on that one. We'll have to watch that back then, because did it hit off Amad? I don't remember it. Spun off Amad. I don't blame them too much, but it's just like we got to figure out, how to get the better corners. We got to do better as on corners. If City were OP, they would have punished us back. Punished us, but luck was on our side. Well, you need a little bit of luck sometimes. But you gotta do what you gotta do. And we stayed in the game. We stayed in the game. We did what we had to do. And that allows for that little bit of luck. The post-match on Sky was better than the game. I have to go, but the low gets a 10. All right, great. So I'll see you later. We'll talk later next week at some time. Grace is giving Delo a 10. I don't think Delo's getting a 10. Mazawari, we're giving him a 7 as well. I think Maz was very, very good. Again, another good performance from Maz. He's one of those players that he just sort of plays without fear. He gets very involved. He gets very stuck in. He's always battling on the pitch. And he has those moments where he also picks up the ball and he just drives forward and he creates something out of it. So, again, I think Mazawari has been our signing of the season, definitely. I would give Ugarte a 7 as well. I think he played very good. He was getting stuck in. He was getting on the ball. He was making life difficult in that midfield battle. I think he did very well today as well. Bruno, I give Bruno a 6.5 because I think he played some good parts in the game, but then there was also some bad parts, and then he scored the penalty even though he missed that open chance. So I would have probably gave him a 7 for today, but I think there's arguments for both sides of his game today. But he did convert the penalty. He gets credit for that after missing the chance. The sitter that he missed. He made up for it. And rightfully so. And he is the captain, so he should be judged a little bit more, or critiqued a little bit more in depth, right? So 6.5, I think that's still good. It's above average. Diego Delo, and Grace didn't stay around for this, so that's good. She can't get mad at me. I'm gonna give him, honestly, it's probably like a 5.5. I think he was a little bit below average today. I think he was underwhelming. He was. He had some very poor decisions, poor passes. And My thing is, I know Delo can do what Mazawari does, and I don't know if it's because Delo is playing on the left, so he doesn't feel as comfortable as when he's on the right. But I know Delo can do what Maz does in terms of going forward with the ball when the ball is in his feet and attacking. I know he can do it. I've seen him do it before. I know he's capable of it, but he's not doing it. And I don't know if it's because he's being instructed not to do that because it's sort of a balancing of the system, the formation, or maybe it's because he's playing on that left hand side and he feels sort of awkward on that side compared to being there. And maybe he's a little bit out of form. Maybe it's a combination of all things. Um, what's going on with Delo? Is he just tired? Well, that could be another thing too. He could be partially fatigued because he has to play like all these matches and he's playing all these minutes. Um, so could be another thing. Which is why we need, Shaw is out again. I don't even know how long Shaw is out for, but he's out. And somebody that we need to speak on, which we didn't speak on yet, but we'll get to him in a second. Ahmad's gonna get an 8.5. Clear man of the match. Nobody's touching him. Um, just he won us the game. He got us the pen. He scored the last minute winner. He's been absolutely brilliant. I think he has like 3 goals and 6 assists in his last however many matches that is. He's been real impactful. He's grown into a much better player. And I said this on the last show that we talked a week ago. We need more players like Amad, and specifically we need more wingers like Amad. We need people that when I view Amad, I just see a kid that is happy to be there, and when he gets on the pitch, he just does whatever he can to try and make the team win. And he's not like he has a good balance of like not being too selfish, um, but also being selfish when he needs to be. I was a little bit frustrated with him earlier on in the game because, and he was frustrated with himself. You've seen that he was kicking the post out of anger because he was making good moves, and I just wanted him to kind of release the ball at that moment, and he didn't release it. He held on to it, and he tried to do an extra move, an extra whatever he was trying to do, and it wasn't coming off. And I just wanted him to, move the ball on. So there was those things that he can improve on. But again, he's impacting matches and he's making things happen. And he's, you can feel the confidence kind of brewing from him. Um, you know, he's got this aura is glowing around him. So, and he attacks with vigor, but he also defends. And he does that defending work, and you can tell by the way he does it. It's important to him. He understands it's important to the team. He understands that I have to do this because it will help the team. And it will help us win a match. Like, it's not about Amad Diallo. It's not about me, like, I got to score today because I need to be the superstar. It's like, I got to do everything on the pitch to help the team so that we can win. And that's what I really like about him. Um, so we win 2 on the bounce, and surprise, surprise, no angry Axelor to be found. Well, I wish he came in here because we could have had a good conversation. So I wish he was here. Maybe he's busy. Maybe he didn't come here because we won. I don't know. That's on him. But I wish he was here because we would have a good conversation. I really felt bad for Mount today, man. Poor lad. Well, that's who we were going to talk about. And we got to Mason Mount on the player ratings, which you can't even really give him a player rating. I'm just going to give him a 6 because he lasted 13 minutes. And it's really I feel really bad for Mason Mount because you could see when he knew that he was fucked and that he had to come off. You can see his heart was broken. You can see that like he has been trying and that it means a lot to him, and he really wanted to be fit and stay fit, and he wants to play for this club and he wants to be here, but it's just not happening, man. And I feel really bad for him, but I think we really do have to sell him. We just can't keep him. We can't keep this, and it's really unfortunate because I actually like him as a player. I think he's a good profile of player. I think he has a good personality as well. And if he was able to stay fit, I think he would be an important player for us. Um, uh, and I think he would be very good. But we can't keep a player like this. It's the same as Luke Shaw. Like, we just can't keep these players. We just can't. As much as it's like heartbreaking and it's sad, and it's unfortunate because you say that they are good talents, but they just can't stay fit. And if you just can't stay fit, you cannot stay at Manchester United. We cannot hold on to you. We can't. We're trying to build something. We cannot have players like this. So it's very unfortunate for him. I feel really bad for him. But I think, I said it when it happened. They showed the players warming up, and then they showed Mount on the floor, and I was like, we have to sell him. And, that was the first thing that I said. I was like, we have to sell him. I was like, I don't want to sell him because I want him, because I believe he's a good player. But I was like, we're never gonna get anything substantial out of him because he can't stay fit. So it's a really sad situation. It's a bad situation. I wish it didn't have to be like this. I wish him a speedy recovery, but I don't have any confidence that when he does come back, he's going to be able to stay fit any longer than he's been able to stay fit every time he's come back so far. So it's really bad. It's sad. I feel sorry for him. But we have to, the club comes first. We're not a charity. We're not, you know, this isn't a nursing home. This isn't like, a soup kitchen or something. We have to be a little bit ruthless. I like both those players, but if we're talking about ruthlessness is moving them on and saying, listen, we think you're good, but you're no good to us if you can't play. So um Ahmad is like a little firecracker, so explosive. Luke Shaw has never been the same after that PSV game. Well, nah, Ahmad is definitely a lively one. And I hope Garnacho can come back to kind of doing that. I think Garnacho's lost his way a little bit. Garnacho was doing what Diallo is doing now. Garnacho has lost his way a little bit. And I hope Garnacho can figure it out. I think Marcus Rashford is pretty much, his time is coming to an end. But I think there's still hope for Garnacho. And I hope Garnacho does the correct decisions. I hope he makes the correct decisions. I hope he, picks the right attitude. And goes into training. I'm sure, obviously he's going to be quite rightly upset of being dropped, but there's a way you can handle that, and you take it with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. You go into training, and you try and prove that manager wrong, and you try and prove the doubters wrong. And you work hard. And I think as long as you work hard and you have the right attitude, I think Amorim will give you another chance. And when he gives you that chance, take the chance on the pitch, just like Amad Diallo did. Amad has had to struggle with a lot. Not been given minutes at all, to given some minutes, performing well when he was given those minutes, then dropped out of the team again for no good reason, because it wasn't like he was playing bad, he was playing good. And the argument was that he should be playing, he should be starting, and he's not getting opportunities now, even though he played well for who knows what reason it was. And he's had to be a little bit more patient, and he's come back, and then he's continued to grow every time he's given an opportunity. And that's what we need from players. That's the type of players we need. When you're given a little bit of adversity, when you're given a little bit of things that don't go your way, and you believe that you deserve something and you're not getting it, what do? Do you just give up and throw a tantrum and say this is bullshit and I don't care anymore? Or do you buckle down and you continue to fight, and you continue to push, and you continue to try and go forward, and kind of break through that? And that's what Diallo has shown me, and I'm looking for that from some other players, more specifically Alejandro Garnacho, because I think Rashford, there's been many opportunities for him to do it. He hasn't done it. I don't think anything's going to change with him. So Garnacho should use this to his advantage. I can see him doing that. Well, no, I think he definitely can. And I think he should also keep in mind, like, hey, Mason Mount has just gotten injured. So that's one less player, sort of in that position. Rashford was put in the same boat as you, and he seems like, his career at Manchester United is far more in question than Garnacho. I think if Garnacho looks at it and goes, all right, if I just buckle down, really focus, go as hard as I can throw myself back in there. There's a spot there waiting to be taken. It was sort of similar to like kind of what Sancho missed out on because he threw that, he did what he did with Ten Hag, and then we were without a right winger. And it was like if you just kept your mouth shut, didn't do what you did, took it on the chin and worked a little bit harder and pushed a little bit more, you would have had that right wing spot because it was open and we needed somebody at that time. So I think Garnacho has to do sort of the same, and he has to do what Amad did. I don't think we need to worry about the ruthlessness of Amorim. I wonder what Garna and Rashid really did. Well, I don't know if they necessarily really did anything per se, maybe outside of the club, and outside of the, I don't think maybe it's something that happened outside of football terms. I'm thinking, and maybe we'll get a little bit more on this at another point, but I'm really thinking from what my friend that's a Sporting fan, he told me this on day one. He said if you don't perform and you don't play and if you don't perform well and you don't train well and you don't do the things that Amorim asks of you, he will drop you. He told me that. He told me that like he's done this at Sporting, where like there are players that were more high profile or more established, and he was dropping those players because they were either being selfish, they weren't doing the things that they needed to do, they weren't doing things that he was asking, or they weren't playing for the team and they were playing individual for themselves. And he would drop those players immediately and he would bring in like a 17-year-old and 18-year-old to replace them. So he's done this before. And I think it has to do with the football side of things. I think they're both not playing well. I also think maybe they're also not. I also think both of them are a little bit too selfish, which he doesn't like. He's made this statement before. I think maybe the reactions to certain things hasn't been good either. Now Garnacho is a younger kid, so there's always that iffiness of, these are kids and they might not handle the situation the best. Well, because Rashford is 27 years old. He's been at Manchester United his whole life. He should understand how to act and react by now. So I think there's that aspect. Please think of your heart, Eric. Don't mention Sandra. No, it's okay. It's okay. Listen. I could mention him. It's when it's what happens to me is when people were coming in talking about that he was right and Ten Hag was wrong. That I can't stand. Sandy is in here. Sandy, it's been a while. How you doing, buddy? Sandy saying yes. Man United, good evening. Sandy from Zambia, guys, don't worry about them. Lion says that he has a question for Sandy, asking him, is he from Zambia? I believe he is. But let's finish the player ratings because we didn't finish the player ratings. Rasmus, I would give just an average 6. I think it was average today. He struggled at some moments. He did okay holding the ball up at some moments. Some other moments, not so good. He lacked opportunities as well. There was a lack of the ball being put into the box, so he lacked chances. It was very quiet today. But so was Erling Haaland, was very quiet. I told you this last week. I said every time he plays a big team, he turns into Ghostland. The guy straight ghosts. All he does is stat pad against these smaller teams where they're not good enough to handle 72 crosses to him in a match. And obviously he's going to score 2 or 3 goals. That's all he does is stat pad against these smaller clubs, and he has all these goals. And, it is what it is. But every time he plays a top 4, top 6, or a big club or in a big match, the guy literally disappears. He literally turns into Ghostland. So, Lenny Yoro, I give him a 6 for the time that he was on the pitch. That was my first time actually seeing Lenny Yoro because I haven't been able to properly watch a match. In like, I think this is like 2 weeks now. So this was my first proper match. And that was something that I wanted to mention before as well. Like, I haven't been able to watch us play properly, like sit down and watch a full 90-minute match. For how many matches now has it been? So the last match that I was able to watch was the Everton match. So I haven't watched United play for 1, 2, 3 matches in a row. And I can tell you that I from the last time that I remember watching us play, and that was against Everton, and that was the Everton win where we won 4-0 at home. I can see the slight improvements in the team. I can see the positioning's a little bit better. We're a little bit better at holding the ball, and passing it around. We still have some improvements to make that we're like, so we're on a, we're doing these things a lot more instinctively. But I've seen the difference because I haven't watched the team play for 3 matches. So from 4 matches ago to now, I've seen there is a clear indication that things are improving slowly and slightly, but they are improving. So I think we just have to, just give more time and go with the process. It's gonna be one that is gonna take time. It has to take time. It's the only logical thing. It's always gonna take time. So how cool is the fact that Amorim is the first manager since Fergie to win his first Manchester Derby? Can somebody check on Axelord? Well, yeah. Let's finish up this player ratings though. Victor Lindelof, I give him a 6. Anthony, I give him a 6. He's taken up in the wingback position. Maybe his future isn't as done as maybe we thought it was. The one thing about Anthony that I will always give him is that he definitely has fight in him. He has fight in him. He has aggressiveness. And if he can use that to channel some type of being impactful in matches, then maybe his career at United isn't 100% done. Maybe Amorim advocates to keep this guy. Maybe he feels like he can get something out of him and use that. Kobe Mainu coming on for Mason Mount. He played, 75 minutes or so. I would give Mainu anywhere from a 6 to a 6.5. I think he struggled a little bit today. He was sort of fairly average. And I'm not too worried about him. Again, he's one of these young kids. I actually like it a little bit better that we're not overusing him anymore, which is very good because I don't want him to be burned out by the time he's 25 years of age. And I'm not too worried about him. I think, he wasn't, maybe it was a mentality thing. He was prepared to kind of sit on the bench for, 60 minutes. And then he had to come into the game 13 minutes in. He also, has recently come back from injury, not too far off. He missed a large portion of games as well. So, there's that aspect, but it was an average day for him. But I'd like to see him get back on track to his best sooner rather than later. Warren J is here as well. Warren, how are you, buddy? How is everything? How are you feeling? Lyle saying Anthony coming off the bench these last 2 games has been wild. Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, again, I think something that I think with Amorim, he says things, and I don't think the guy says things just to say things. I think the things he says, they have purpose behind them and they have meaning. And so when you listen to what he says, especially the first 2-3 interviews he gave, he literally spoke about, you must play for the team, you must fight. You cannot be selfish individuals. That will not be accepted here. And I certainly don't think he just said that because it sounds good and that's going to win over fans. I think he said it because he believes it and he means it. And I take Anthony as a player that, while he is lacking ability, right, and skill, especially when you compare him to like Diallo, right, and impactfulness in terms of assists or goals or whatever, or even creating chances. I think the one thing that Anthony has in his pocket is that he he's not super selfish when he's on the pitch. Like, does he have a shot? Sure, but he still looks for teammates. He still tries to make intricate plays with his teammates. Another thing he has is that he is a fighter. He is aggressive, and he's a battler. And I think Amorim likes those things. So there might be a hope for Anthony, especially if he sees Anthony and says he's lacking in areas technically wise or ability wise. But I can work with this player. I feel like I can get something out of him. This player has something worth to work with. So maybe Anthony's not as done as we originally thought. Warren saying red, red, red. Says happy Sunday as well. Lion saying, I think he might have been hitting the keys too hard and broken the damn thing. The Wii keyboard warrior. All right. Relax on the pylon. All right. Side note, we need to take the number 7 off Mount and give it to Garnacho as a confidence booster. I would. Well, I don't know if they're going to give him the 7 now. Maybe it would be a new signing that comes in. But I think Amorim if they take the 7 off of Mount, which is only going to come if he gets sold, by the way. They're not going to strip him of the 7 and give him a different number. They just won't do it. But I think Amorim understands, number one, because he's Portuguese and he knows Ronaldo donned it. But I think Amorim understands the importance of the 7. I think he sort of believes in that too, as him being a player not too long ago. I think he understands that 7. And I think he understands that what the 7 is, the catalyst is supposed to be as for the team. So I feel like when that time comes, I think he'll probably make the best proper 7 decision we've had since Ronaldo donned it. I don't know who it's gonna be. People will say to give it to Garnacho, but Garnacho has some question marks over him. He hasn't been playing well lately. A lot of people are criticizing him. I still think he's a good player, but I don't. We got to see what happens with him. We got to see, especially him being dropped out of the squad right now. I don't think you just get the number 7 shirt. I think Garnacho has to earn that shirt. If anything, for me, Amad Diallo is the one making the argument for that number 7 shirt with the way he's playing right now. So Garnacho wants it. He's going to have to step it up, and he's going to have to fight his way back into the team. Lion saying, but today is a good day. Trolls only leave the cave when it's raining, dark and gloomy. Well, yeah, you're right about that. Lion saying, if you're watching Axe, we love you, really. Well, yeah, of course. Maybe in the summer, change numbers if Mount is still here. It's too heavy for him, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, they could. I just don't see them doing that. From the club aspect. I don't know why. I just feel like it's something that they just don't. They won't do. Or maybe they do it because they surprise us. But I don't know. I feel like it's not something that he's too, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's something he's not too pressed about, in terms of like, oh, we got to take the 7 off a Mount and give it to one of these players. I think that issue would become more important if the number itself became available. Like if Mount is sold, there's a vacancy in that 7, right? That's when Amorim would look at it and take the chance to be like, all right, this shirt is important to this club. It means a lot throughout the history. I know what it is. And this player that we're gonna pick to choose it has to be one of the hardworking, unselfish, has great characteristics as a player and as a person. And is going to be our catalyst, and that's when he'll look to really make the decision. I don't think he's really looking at it like we got to take that. I don't think he's looking at it from that aspect right now in terms of like we got to move the 7 shirt. I think if it becomes vacant, then that's when he'll make it. But he's focusing on other things. So, um, you mean Owen wasn't a good number 7? No, Diallo 16 is perfect. Actually, yeah, I feel the same. 16 is perfect. Well, listen, um, maybe so, but um, maybe so, but with the way he's playing, the way he's doing things, um, if he improves on even what he's doing now, I think there's going to be a real argument for him to become the number 7. It hasn't happened yet, but I think if he continues the way he's going, and he actually builds on top of what he's doing, I think there's going to be a real push for Amad Diallo to be number 7. It's just numbers at the end of the day. More pressing matters at hand. Yeah, for him right now, especially. For him right now, especially because again, like I haven't been able to watch the matches, but what I have been able to do is listen to Ruben Amorim speak. And I've listened to all his press conferences, and I listened to what he says. And one of the things that he was asked about is like, we are just doing the basics right now. And he's like, there are things that I want to do more advanced, but like, we are just doing the basics right now because we need to get the basics down. And I agree with that. And I think he's absolutely right. And when I hear him say things like that, I get very encouraged. I believe in him a lot more because because the things that he's saying is things that I already think in my head prior to hearing him speak. Like when I look at the club, when I look at the team, and when I try to analyze it for myself, and this is from the outside looking in, I think or believe a lot of the things that he's already saying. And he's on the inside and he's with the players every day. And he then comes out in a press conference and says basically almost the same things that I'm pretty much thinking. So it only encourages me that like he actually understands what is going on. He's not naive. I think see, the thing is, deep down, I think he is some sort of a secret Manchester United fan, right? Like he said he only wanted to come to United. It was only United and it was only ever United, which makes me think that he's been watching games and matches of United for quite some time, numerous amounts of years. And I think he's seen certain players played like shit. I think he's well aware of things on social media as well because he's a younger guy, and stuff like that. So there's something about him that he understands a little bit more about the players, the club, the current aspect, and the world aspect. Because he's saying things that this fan base has been saying for like years now. And he seems to have understood that almost certainly immediately. So it's just very encouraging. That's why, all right, we have a bad performance. I'll be disappointed, but I ain't worried. I'm not worried. I'm encouraged. I actually feel confident with him here because I think it's just a matter of time, and I think it's going to take some time, but I think it's just a matter of time with this guy. He does seem to very much understand it, and he does seem to be a much better fit for the club. Just by him, just him dropping Rashford and Garnacho out of the matchday squad on a derby against Manchester City is already um, one of the biggest things that he could do that no manager has done prior to him. That's something Ferguson would do, and no other manager has done it. Maybe Mourinho, but Mourinho had different reasons in terms of like, he would get into arguments with them and stuff like that. Or he would fall out with them. He's doing things that we've been asking for. And if you listen to him speak, he says things that we've been saying for like 3, 4, 5 years now. So he clearly understands it. And I think also the fact that he's come and he said, we're playing this way, we're playing my way. Sure, we're going to struggle because not all of these players can play that way. And that's why I'm saying we just have to accept it as it goes because we know that some of these players ain't good enough. We know that some of these players need to go. But it ain't about them, right? They're an issue on their own. The real focus is we got to get the team playing in this manner. So these players, they're going to struggle. These players, they're going to let us down. They're a separate issue. We're going to get as best as we can for the rest of the team, and then we'll start moving pieces around and start doing things. Give 7 to Ahmad, Ray says. Guys, are we talking about giving Garnacho the 7? He needs to learn how to stop being selfish first. Well, I think that's one of the things as well. And I think that might be one of the reasons why he's not even in the matchday squad. So you kind of described Maz as your perfect number 7, Eric. Well, yeah, but I think Diallo is making a real argument for it. I think no, you're not going to give it to Rasmus, but I'm trying to think of players that we have in there. That's why I think right now I think Garnacho can fight for it if he wants, if he does what he needs to do. And like Warren pointed out, one of the things that he needs to control is overly being selfish. Because I'm not against a player being necessarily selfish because it shows confidence, and it shows belief in them, right? But you have to balance it. You have to balance it. You can't get to a spot where you are overtly selfish, and you're basically like, fuck the rest of the team or fuck my teammates. I'm gonna do it. There's moments in the match where you have to pick and choose to be like, I can do this right now, or I got to give this to them. I want to do it, but they're in the better position. They're in the better spot than me. I have to give them the ball. That's something that he has to learn, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like Amad Diallo, he has moments where he is quote unquote selfish, right? But when he gets to the position, if he's on the inside, he ain't trying to dribble 6 more players. He's gonna give the ball to somebody. If he cuts on the inside, it might open up for him to take a shot, which is perfectly fine. But I think he balances it quite nicely. And it's just something that I think Garnacho has to figure out. So, but we need more personalities. When you said that, I described Maz as your perfect number 7. I think Maz has that player profile, that personality, that attitude. I think Kobe has some of it. He's quiet, but I think he has some of it. I think Diallo is similar to him. I think Yoro might look like he has some of it as well. We need more personalities like this in the team. It's good for the team. These people that play, they don't play for themselves. They don't play for themselves. They play for the team, and they play for the club. They play for the fans. And they go on the pitch, and they play in that manner. You can tell they play in that manner. And we need more of that. We do. Just let Ahmad be. Let's not overhype him. Well, I'm not overhyping him. I'm just saying, like, what he's doing right now is very good. If he builds on top of this and he goes up even more levels than what he's already doing, and he grows and builds, I think there will be a time that comes that people are going to start pushing for him to get the number 7 shirt, especially because, let's say like it won't happen until the summer anyway. If he just has if he's the player that has the best season on Manchester United, I think when you get to the summer, if that 7 vacancy opens, people are going to push for it. If it happens 1 year down the line from now, and he continues to grow, and he becomes like this very, very good, consistent, talented player, they're going to push for it for sure because he's a winger. And traditionally the wingers get the number 7, right? So, but no, like he has some parts to improve on his game. Still, he has some room to improve. He's not the perfect player, but I think he can do it. in all honesty, the number 7 should be earned, and that's what I'm really getting at. Is that I think if he continues to build on it, I think he will put himself in a place where he has earned to get it. And I do agree with that. In I've always thought that that shirt is given to the player that has earned that shirt because of what they've done. You don't just give it to them in hopes of. Now Fergie had a different thing with Ronaldo, right? But I think Ronaldo could be the exception because of the player he became anyway, right? He became an exception footballer. Um, it was him and Messi at the top. They were untouchable. Now Ferguson had an exception, but that he gave it to him as to spur him on. But I think in today's time, it's changed so much that I don't think I think you have to do it the opposite way. You have to. It's almost like dangling the carrot in front of the horse, right? Like you have to dangle that 7 shirt in front of them. You can't just give it to them to spur them on. I don't think that'll work in today's time. I think you have to dangle it in front of them and make them really push for it till they hit a point where they've grown and they've earned it, and then you can give it to them. Rashford should be our number 7, but he fucked it up. Well, he always wanted number 10, so but we didn't even finish the player ratings. Xerxes give him a 6, and Amorim we're gonna give him an 8. Because he won the derby, and he dropped Rashford Garnacho out of the squad, and he won the derby, and it was late. And Amad Diallo, of course, man of the match. And let me just hit Twitter real quick because I'm sure there's been a bunch of stuff that's gone on. So Rasmus Højlund, this was what Stephanie was talking about earlier. So Rasmus Højlund has posted. Rasmus Højlund has posted that interaction where it was him and Kyle Walker when they touched heads. And Rasmus Højlund posted the picture of the moment that both their heads touched and wrote, "Violets are blue." Oh, he said, "Manchester is red, violets are blue. What a brilliant performance, but the Oscar goes to..." And Kyle Walker. So, but we're hitting all social media aspects right now, which is very, very good. Amad deserves all the headlines, for sure. But what we didn't mention actually was that ball that went to Amad for the final goal. I mean, we've completely overlooked it because of Amad and what he did after. But the ball from Lisandro Martinez, the assist that he gave to Amad, without that, Amad ain't scoring that. So, he deserves credit for that goal as well because he's seen the run. He gave a perfect ball. Amad made the perfect run. And then the rest is obviously history with that touch and stuff like that. So the Ruben Amorim, yep, you brought that up. I'm just trying to see if there was any more quotes or stuff like that. So a flag apparently went up in the away end, stating 115 period 3007 period and 192, which is 115 charges. 3007 was the attendance crowd versus Mansfield, and 192 was the bus number to Stockport. So we're our fans are on one today. They're having all the fun. They're having all the fun. Is this the goal? Let me see. Pep Guardiola on his defeat to Manchester United, he said, "I am not good enough." Well, we told you that you ain't you ain't the GOAT. There's only one GOAT. His name is Sir Alex Ferguson. We've been telling you that. We've been telling you fans that. But Amorim said that Mount felt something. We have to wait. He is an important player for us that I like a lot and that the team needs. He is humble and works hard. See, again, listen to the things he says. Listen to the things Amorim says when he talks publicly, right? Now, he says, Mount's an important player. He likes Mount, but he ends the quote by saying he is humble and works hard. And he keeps saying things like this. And this is what I'm trying to say. Like, he values that. And I value it too. I think he's absolutely right to value these things. And I think the fact that he values them makes me believe in him more, because I think that's what we've been missing at this club from the players for so long, is that we need not only warriors, not only fighters, but we need hard workers. We need humble people, and we need people that aren't selfish. And we need people that when they get on that pitch, I don't give a shit what you do off of the pitch, but when you get on the pitch, you have a job. And I explained this last time when we were talking to Bin Guy, and I said, the days that there was Fergie, the players weren't some of the nicest human beings. Some of them were assholes. Some of them weren't great people. Some of them didn't like each other. But when they got on the pitch, they understood that they were playing for something. It wasn't about them. It was about Manchester United. It was about what they were representing. And that's what we've been missing. And if we get that back, we can actually be a serious team. We can actually be a serious club. We can actually be competitive, because we've been missing that. And I think we get it back by doing the things that Amorim is talking about. Now, obviously, Ineos have to do their job and back him and don't throw him under the bus to the players. So, Bloody Walker, man. I mean, yeah. Quote of the day, Pep. I'm not good enough. Yeah. I'm giving the manager and Amad joint man of the match. Amad for his match performance and the manager for dropping Rashford and Garnacho. Fair enough. Fair enough. I think a lot of people were happy with that. That he dropped both of them. It just signals a change, right? It just signals something is different is brewing. And you can tell, and this is what I'm saying, like the fact that he's dropped them out of the squad completely, he understands something more than any of the other managers that have been here before him. He understands something a little bit more. He does. Because listen, he could have been afraid. You do it in that match and you lose that match, and there was always a good chance that we lose that match, because we're not anything close to a finished product. We're a work in progress. We could have went there and we could have lost 3-0. Now obviously he was confident that we wouldn't do that, but it could have happened. You do that, you make that decision, and the headline, the shitstorm of the headline that it creates, and what you would have to deal with in the aftermath. And he still chose to do it because he's holding down these principles and his beliefs, and what he understands is going to make this team a stronger, better team. So have I mentioned yet the picture is pure class? Yes. I love it. I love it. I gotta send this to my friend later, because so one of my friends, he's a Benfica fan. And obviously Ruben Amorim was a player for Benfica. And he's my friend's been shitting on Manchester United for quite some time, but he wants United to succeed because of the Benfica ties, right? And any player that comes from Benfica, he always supports them. So obviously Bernardo Silva was a former Benfica player, and so was Ruben Diaz. So he's been supporting them over United because they've had like 2 or 3 Benfica players there. But he really wants Ruben Amorim to succeed, and he believes in Ruben Amorim the same way that I'm saying I believe in Ruben Amorim. And he's basically been saying, if somebody can do it, is like, it's this guy. We were having a discussion in there before. Our friend that's the Porto fan sent one of the quotes that Amorim gave before the match about Marcus Rashford and Garnacho, and he said something along the lines of I watch the way you dress, the way you eat, and stuff like that. He said I watch everything. Now the Porto fan was trying to give shit, saying like, "What is this guy talking about?" Um, he's dropping players because of the way they put on their clothes or something like that. And I'm like, you're obviously being facetious on purpose. Like, you know what the fuck he meant. You know what he means. It's obviously not like, what they're dressing. Like, here is the quote. He said, Ahmad on Garnacho and Rashford. He said, I pay attention to everything. The way you eat, the way you put your clothes to go to a game, everything. I make my evaluation, then I decide. And what he really means by that is he's not saying like I watch like the way you eat, like I'm watching the way you eat, so I've dropped you from a match, or the way you put your clothes on, I've dropped you from a match because you. He's saying I literally watch every aspect and detail of the player as a person, and I decide if your attitude, if your personality, if your character as a person is good enough to be as a player for this club. That's what he's judging them on. He's judging them on everything. He's judging the profile of player, which is exactly what needs to happen. These players need to be judged on their profile as a whole and be determined, do you represent a Manchester United player? And if the answer is no, then you should not be playing, or you should not be involved with this club anymore. And this is what I'm saying. Like, he's saying things and he's doing things that I think are absolutely spot on. So I do believe in this manager very, very much. He also said, I don't want to send a message to Rashford and Garnacho. It's simply an evaluation, and they know it. These players are really, really smart. Everybody understands my decision. I have to choose. It's just simple selection. They trained this morning because they didn't play, so it is what it is. Um, Amorim says, I choose the players, but they decide. They have the power. If they do well during the season in every detail, during the week in training, and playing the right way, they will play. I mean, like, he's just literally telling you what it is. Like, he said, I make the decisions, but it's up to them. If they do well during the season in every detail, and that means being 100% complete professional, and during the week, you do it in training, and you go in the matches and you play the correct way, then you will play. Like, he's just telling everybody flat out what it is. Like, there is no controversy. There is no, beating around the bush. He's literally telling you, like, I'm asking for things. I want them to behave in a certain way. You represent Manchester United. This is a high profile club. You need to be a high profile person. You need to act a certain way. You need to do certain things in training, and then I need to see you do it in professional matches. And if you do those things, I will play you. If you don't do those things, you won't play. It's literally that simple. It's that simple. So, yeah. Um Did anyone see Bernardo's post-match interview comparing City to a U14 football? No, I didn't see that yet. I haven't watched any of those things. I'm gonna watch in a little bit. But listen, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I gotta go because I need to eat. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten anything. I don't actually know what I'm eating yet. But before I leave, before I get out of here, let me just put the schedule straight for us because um I need to check out. So 12:19 is the match against Tottenham on the Carabao Cup. That is a Thursday. Um but the match is at 3 o'clock. So um the hours of yeah, I still probably won't be able to do that. I still probably won't be able to do um a live a Red Devil recap for that show. Um, if I can, I'll obviously alert you guys, but don't expect it. And then we play Man United play Bournemouth on the 22nd. The 22nd is Sunday. So at the very least, what will happen is no Red Devil recap and no lives till next Sunday. So 1 week from now, we will see each other. We will speak with each other. Um, and that's at least for the next week or so. I won't be able to do the Boxing Day matches because I'll be at work, so that's unfortunate. I have a few more weeks of this job, so this is going to continue on until this job ends. It's probably going to be somewhere around mid-January. So after mid-January, schedule might open back up. We might also be able to do normal hours. Right now, we're doing. See, the thing is, we're doing a lot of hours. Because normally we start at 6:30 in the morning. We do about 7 hours and then go home. So I would actually be home by 3 p.m. my time every day. So I mean, it's not really my pops, right? It's just the demand of the job. It's actually not even on him. It doesn't even work like that. It's just about, there's people that are pushing for the job to get done, and therefore they come to us and they tell us, you have X amount in the budget. We need certain hours. So if you guys want to stay longer, or we need you to stay longer, so you start working X amount of hours. You know what I mean? Um, you need the community to have a word. And Amorim, perhaps too honest in his interviews. Don't get me wrong, I totally love it, but perhaps too honest. Nah, let him keep being honest. Let him keep being honest. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'd rather have that. Um, I can see the concern. I don't think he seems calculated with his response. Well, that might get him into trouble at some point, right? It might get him into trouble at some point, but I'd rather have it that way anyway. Um, because we know what we're getting. And I think it does him. I think it does him. Uh, it does him more better than it does harm, because if he's always truthful with us and he's truthful with us from the beginning, when things happen, and then there's going to be, speculation about this and that, um, people will believe him when he says things, which I think it'll quell some of the negative shit. Like, for example, there was always this talk of like Ten Hag doesn't give um proper answers, proper responses, right? When the thing happened with Sancho, what happened? It was half the fan base took like Sancho's side, half the fan base took Eric Ten Hag's side. Half the fan base was like, he's literally a liar. Why should we believe what he's saying? He's lying. Sancho's telling the truth. And another half were like, we don't even see a reason for him to actually lie, but even if he's lying, so fucking what? Like, it's can't take a player over the manager, so they took that side. But I think if you're Amorim and you tell the truth and you're upfront, right? Maybe at one point it gets you into trouble, but at the same time, um, I think it'll if something happens, I don't think there will be all this madness of speculation happening. So we don't know what we're having for dinner, but we'll definitely be back on Sunday. I can live with that. Yes. So Sunday we will definitely be back for the match against Bournemouth. It's going to be an early one. Well, early for me because it's at 9 o'clock in the morning here. So I'm gonna have to wake up early, and I'll be tired because I only have one day off a week right now. I'm working Saturdays as well. So Boxing Day we won't be able to do. Then there's the match on the 30th versus Newcastle, which is on a Thursday as well, so we won't be able to get that one in either. Unfortunate, because if they played on New Year's Eve, I would have been able to do it. And then there's the match versus Liverpool, which is on the 5th, which I will be around for that. So at least I could do the match versus Liverpool. And then around there, job should be teetering off. So Amir is in here saying chicken, rice, and peas, people. Stay humble, eh? Yeah, stay humble, eh? 100%. Amad Diallo is our most important player. Well, right now he certainly is. He certainly is. And for good reasons, because he's making things happen. I mean, I'm looking absolutely home. This should tell you how much time I have. Like I look absolutely homeless. I don't have time to shave. I can't go get a haircut. Um, so I should go get one at some point, but it's not enough time. In the day, not enough. I don't have enough time. I get home really late during the week. Um, if I had like a Saturday off, I'd go do it, but I don't want to do it for Christmas. This guy's open Christmas Eve. I could go do it, but I don't know if he's gonna be open. Um, Cabbage with mutton back in the old days. Sheep. Good lamb. Some lamb. Some veal. Baby veal. I don't know. All right, guys, but let me get out of here because I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta eat. I gotta go do things. And I want to relax a little before I have to wake up at 4:30 in the morning again. So I'll catch you guys later. Everybody be good. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for smashing the like button if you did that as always. If anybody was new and subscribed, thank you for subscribing. And we will see each other and speak to each other again in 1 week time. Next Sunday we will be live. So thank you for being here. Everybody be good. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your week. Hopefully we win versus Tottenham in the EFL Cup on Thursday. I'll be keeping one eye on it, but I won't be able to watch it as good as everyone. So everybody take care, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye for and